Hello everyone, this is Nilesh Todi from MMP Filtration Pvt Limited. I am super happy to be back in another video where I am going to introduce you to a very exciting machine which is for wound polypropylene filter manufacturing. Before I come to the filter cartridge machine, I would like to speak a little bit about MMP for those who do not know our company. MMP is a company who's been there for last 33 years. And we have been matured enough now to understand what the market needs as far as specific filters are concerned, and more so for the wound polypropylene filter cartridges. The company started way back in 1993, and since then we have been manufacturing filter cartridge in wound polypropylene and melt-blown filters. We were the first company to start manufacturing the melt-blown filters in 2003. So it's been approximately 22 years for the wound polypropylene filters also. Speaking about the maturity on the filters that we are having, we also have a technical textile division in which we manufacture our own filter yarn. The filter yarn are extensively used for manufacturing the filter cartridges, which we'll be speaking about in the later course. We will now not wait too much, but to introduce a very exciting machine which is going to be a revolution in the industry of wound filter cartridge manufacturing. You must be knowing that we had earlier, or rather I would say that we still have the machines which we manufacture, the mechanical machine as well as the ratio-based machine. The mechanical machine has been very popular for the last 3 years that we have been producing and giving it in the market. The ratio-based machines are also very popular, which is sold extensively for export market. Coming to the new machine that we have, it's going to be much advanced than a mechanical and a ratio-based machine, on which we will discuss on this particular video. The machine that I'm going to be talking about has been named as SMARTWIND 360°. Now, as the name spells by itself, there is a reason why we have kept this name a SMARTWIND 360°. A smart winding technology is predominantly that we are giving you over here. The machine is very smart in its winding technology. And why 360°? A 360° is because you can nurture your brain, your mind in various angles to make your own pattern, to design your own filter, to see something which the market has not given very easily, and you can make it by yourself in any way that you want. You can churn your mind all the way around, which is 360°, and make a filter cartridge. Hence it is a SMARTWIND 360° machine. Anything which comes to the market has a reason. Invention is the cause of necessity. We have seen a gap in the market by which we thought that we have to come up with such a machine which needs to cover up that gap. What is the gap? The gap basically is that the first machine, or the common machine which is available in the market, is the mechanical machine, which we also have with us. The mechanical machine basically manufactures a single layer filter, and to manufacture a single layer filter with a particular micron, you need to keep on changing the gears. So let's say you want a 5 micron filter, and then you want to manufacture a 10 micron filter. So you need to change the gears, you got to involve yourself, you have a lot of changes which is required in the machine, and by which sometimes the people who are changing the gears do not fit it perfectly. There is a cause of trouble in the machine, then there is repairs which is happening, and so on and so forth. Leaving this aside, we came up with another machine which is a ratio-based machine. The ratio-based machine also had a beautiful capability that it overseeded the mechanical machine. The mechanical machine, as I said, needed the change of the gears, whereas the ratio-based machine that we have did not need any change in the gears. It all needed a quick push button, and it used to, or it is actually changing the gears, and the micron pattern is changing. Now, this machine is something different. It is not a single layer machine. So if a cartridge is to be manufactured with multiple layers, that is, if you want to have sediment to be arrested in different layers of different micron, then you can change the number of layers, which was not capable in the previous machines. So this machine the SmartWind 360 degree not only gives you the capability of churning your mind in many ways to manufacture your own pattern, but also gives you the liberty to make different layers of the product so that you can capture your suspended particles in the different layer. And this is going to be the first time that anyone is going to have such kind of a machine. We will be talking about every step that we're going to be taking to show you how exactly this particular machine is going to be one of its kind, and that this machine has never been in the market before. This machine is a multi-layer machine, which I have given you a brief in the past. This is going to be a 3-layer maximum that you can do. That means if you want to achieve a certain diameter, which is, let's say, a 63 millimeter. So a 63 millimeter with 30 millimeter of OD of the core gives you approximately 32 millimeter. From that 32 millimeter, you can take approximately 10 millimeter of thickness of a 1 micron, which is the inner layer. The middle will be a 5 micron, which is another 10 millimeter. And the outer remaining of 12 millimeter, you can take of a 25 millimeter. This will allow the suspended impurity to pass through, resting 25 millimeter above on the first layer. On the second layer, 5 micron and above layers would be stopped, and the last layer, 1 micron and above layers will be stopped. This will give you a higher dirt holding capacity of the filter cartridge.
The machine's beauty is that it has 4 servo motors along with stabilizers. The servo motors are for the cam as well as for the shaft, and individually the servo motors are controlling their revolution and the speed independently, and the stabilizers support the servo motors for doing so.
Another beauty for this particular machine, it has a limit switch. This limit switch is basically going to be capable of handling the yarn which is coming at a certain tension. If this limit switch comes up because of the yarn breakage over here, let's say I pull this yarn off which breaks, this limit switch comes up. Once this comes up, the winding of the filter over here stops. That means the machine will stop winding, and then once you attach this yarn back to this, it will start again winding from the same position. You can see there are 2 sizes of package over here. One is a full package, one is a half package. I would say less than a half package. Now what happens normally that when the package becomes small after the winding, the tension on the yarn increases because the unwinding of this particular yarn speeds up very fast. This affects the tension on the cartridge. Now normally the servo motor in this machine would be capable of handling it, and with a large size diameter or a small size diameter, there would be no difference in the tension of the yarn going and winding on the filter cartridge. The tension device has a different path through which the yarn can be taken for increasing or reducing the tension. It passes through this roller and then goes ahead further down. Before we go further down, it is important to show that we have a limit switch over here. So as soon as I spoke before, the yarn breaks for any good reason, the limit switch over here will lift up and the spindle will stop. The yarn which is coming from the back end is going through the yarn guide and then the thread guide on the filter cartridge. This machine is a PLC based, hence comes with a touch panel. This touch panel is very easy to operate, and we will be explaining you about the details how to operate this machine with the touch panel. Now speaking about the machine, when you start the machine, this is going to be the first screen, and it shows and says very simply and clearly, this is the Smart Winding 360 degrees. On a single tap on this machine, you will come on a home screen. Now this home screen is something which is speaking about all the parameters which has been set, which has been predefined. I will show you how you are going to predefine so that you can come to this particular page. Let us go and see that. We press the system button, and then we have 5 loops over here. The first one in the center is home. On the top you have spindle number 1 and the recipe of spindle number 1. This is spindle number 2, which is the bottom section, and the recipe of spindle number 2, which is for the bottom section. I will try to explain you by taking the example of the recipe spindle 1, which is going to be your first process. Once you set the recipe, there is when you have to come to spindle number 1 to set the number of layers, etc. So let's go and see the recipe spindle number 1. Now on the recipe on spindle number 1, you have rhombus on main axis, which is how many diamonds you have on the length of the filter cartridge. To explain you about the rhombus on the axis, what does it mean? It means the number of diamonds, which if you count over here, this 1 diamond, 2 diamond, 3 diamond, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and a half. There are 20 and a half diamonds. Rhombus on main round. Now I'm going to explain to you what is exactly rhombus on main round. Now we are talking about rhombus per round. What does that mean? It means how many diamonds, which is the rhombus, that you have in the circumference. In this, you have 1 diamond, 2 diamond, and a 3rd diamond over here. So there are 3 diamonds that you have. It's 1, 2, and 3. So you put the 3 diamond, which is 3 rhombus on the round on the machine. Once again, I repeat, it's 21 and a half rhombus on the axis and 3 rhombus on the round. The third input is the cartridge length. The cartridge length is 20 inch and the machine, which is going to be of 20 inch, needs to be input with 20 inch. Normally, this will be a predefined number. The third input is the cartridge length. The cartridge length is 20 inch and the machine, which is going to be of 20 inch, needs to be input with 20 inch. Normally, this will be a predefined number on the machine itself and you do not need to change on that. The fourth is the yarn distance. The yarn distance will be spoken what exactly its meaning and how it is going to be actually playing a very vital important role. The fourth input, which is the yarn distance, which is a unique feature in this machine. This is the distance between the 2 yarn. Let's say if the yarn is of 2 millimeter, that means the center of one yarn to the other yarn will be 0 if the yarn is of 2 millimeter. If you want to increase the distance of the yarn, then you can put 2.5 or 3 millimeter and it will increase the space between the yarn. The space between the yarn from one to the other is going to change the efficiency of the cartridge depending what filtration or what micron rating that you need. Finally, on the fifth, we come to the tube diameter, which is the outer diameter of the core, and I will explain you what exactly is the outer diameter of the core. The fifth input that you have on the machine is the tube diameter. The tube diameter is basically the core diameter, the diameter of the outer core dimension. Let's say this particular core has a 32 millimeter, hence the input value on the machine has to be 32. If the core diameter changes to 34, 36 or 38, that is the number that you have to put on the machine. You can define a micron rating over here depending on what are the input values you have put over here. This will be for recipe number 1. Now as you can see that the machine screen is showing as recipe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you press the next button, you will see recipe number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are 15 recipes that can be set on this machine. If I come back on recipe number 1, you will have a set recipe from our company until recipe number 6, which is the yellow color markings that you are seeing on the machine will be a predefined set micron rating and the pattern will be set on the machine. You can see that pattern number 6 or recipe number 6 has already been defined. What you can do, you can set your own recipe from recipe number 7. And recipe number 7 now, I would like to explain that there is rhombus on main axis. If you press this, you can set your own number of diamonds, which is rhombus on the main axis, which I explained. Let's say we take 8 and then we put the enter button, you will get 8 over here. The second is coming to rhombus per round. The rhombus per round, I want 3 diamonds, which is rhombus per round on the circumference. I take 3 and I put enter. The third value is the length of the cartridge. As I have spoken, if the length of the cartridge is 20 and the machine is of 20 inch, you cannot change this. If you press this, nothing is going to happen because this is predefined. Number four is the yarn distance. Over here, it's a 1.8. Let's say I want a yarn distance of 2.5. I take a 2.5 and I enter. And then the tube diameter of 32 millimeter. If my tube diameter of 32 millimeter, I'll enter 32 millimeter. If my tube diameter is 34 millimeter, I'll enter 34. Currently, I'm using my tube diameter of 32 millimeter. So I've taken a 32 millimeter setting, and this has been this one. How do I choose this? I choose this as my pattern to be, let's say, 25. I take 25 and press this. I get a 25. So this is been set on recipe number 7. We need to remember recipe number 7. As I said, until recipe number 6, it's a predefined recipe we have, and on the number 7, we have our own recipe that I have made myself. Let's come back to the main menu now. Now, if I come to the main menu and I go to spindle number 1, now I have predefined the values. The first layer, the second layer, and the third layer. I want to make a 3-layer machine now. I press the first layer. As soon as I choose recipe number 3, my input values, which are over here, has been predefined on the recipe which we have made. After seeing this, I choose the number of layers which is going to be taking place for manufacturing the filter cartridge. For example, we take 200 layers for making a filter cartridge. I choose 100 for the first layer. So I take 100 and select for the first layer to be manufactured. And this is the speed of the motor, the rotation in RPM. I choose that also to be 400. I will not take it in a very high speed. The second layer I choose to the recipe number 6. Let's say 6. Now over here, number 6 has been chosen. Automatically, all the numbers will change over here, which has been predefined previously. And out of 200 layers, as I said before, the first 100 layers has been taken over here. I choose 40 layers to be the second one. I take 40 and choose 40, and the speed I want to take it as 600 RPM. So I take 600 RPM. The third layer I want to choose as recipe number 7, the one that we have made a new recipe. So I'll take number 7, and the new layer, new setting that I've taken by choosing recipe number 7 comes over here. Over here, out of 200, we have already chosen 100 on the first recipe. On the second recipe, we have chosen as 40 layers, and on the third recipe, which is the third layer, we choose the remaining 60 layers on 60. This gives us the complete. I need also to set up my speed over here. I keep it at 750 over here. Once you have set all the parameters over here, you press this system button and then you go to home. In home, you've already set, which is the speed of various layers of the filter cartridge, which is on the first layer, as you remember, it was 400. On the second layer, it was 600. And in the third layer, it was 750. Over here, the layer is only going to be 0 initially, but once you start manufacturing, you will see the number of layers increasing, because on the first layer, if we have set 100, on the second we have 40, and the third we have 60. Once the 100 value is achieved over here, then the Micron rating will change on the second one. On the second one, if we have set 60 layers, that 60 layers will be completed, and the Micron rating will come on the third layer. This is how it's going to be showing the layers. These are the predefined ratio numbers which will be coming, and this is only for your information. Last but not the least, once you have all over here OK, which is on the center, that means you are about to start the machine without any problems. To start the machine, we simply have to press the green button over here and the machine starts. This particular machine on the spindle number 1, which is the top, has been set with a RPM of 450 and number of layer which has been set over there was 50, you can see the number of layer increasing. Once it achieves 50 layers, I will stop the machine and I will show you the pattern, and then as soon as the second layer starts, you will see this change in the pattern. You can see the number of layer has achieved 44 over here. As soon as 48, I will stop it. If you can see the pattern over here, and remember the pattern, it has multiple diamonds, which is on the axis we have many rhombus. Now I'm going to start the machine once again, and over here you will see this finishes 50, and as soon as this finishes, the second layer has started. When the second layer starts, it is running at a RPM of 550. On the second layer, as soon as this comes to 40, it will shift to the third layer. I will stop it when it is 39, and I will show you what exact pattern has been achieved. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Stop please. You can see the pattern over here has changed. The number of rhombus on the axis is different. You can see the second layer has come to 39. We have set this figure as 40. As soon as it reaches 40, the third will start. 40, this has stopped and the third has started. The third, which has started with a 700 RPM, and you will notice that a speed of the traverse has increased because the RPM over here has also been set as 700. Similarly, we can start the second spindle with the inputs that has already been fed, and I'm going to be starting the second spindle over here by pushing the green button. While the second spindle is being manufactured, I will stop the spindle number 1 and I will show you that the pattern has changed. You can see the pattern on the third layer has changed after the 50 layers, which was the first pattern, and 40 layers, which was the second pattern. This is the final pattern. As soon as we have reached the maximum number of layers which has been set over here, the first spindle will stop. Either it will happen when it is going to be achieving the number of layers, or it will happen when the cartridge reaches its optimum diameter by the sensor over here. Similar to spindle number 1, which is that we had set earlier for recipe spindle number 1, and then we saw what happens on the spindle 1 on the top spindle. I'm going to be showing you how to set the recipe on the second spindle, which is similar to the spindle number 1. The spindle number 2 has 6 predefined menus, and then you can set your own menu further up from 7 to 15, similar to spindle number 1. I will choose 6 recipe as the first layer, recipe number 2 on the second layer, and recipe number 1 on the third layer on the spindle number 2. I will take 50 layers each on the Micron filter cartridge production, and the speed has been taken as 400, 500 and 600 RPM for the 3 different layers. Now let's start the machine and see what exactly happens on the change of Micron pattern as soon as it reaches 50 layer on the first section, and the second section after 50 layers has achieved, finally achieving 150 layers, which is the last 50 layers. Simply start the machine by pressing the green button over here. Now you can see the cartridge being manufactured with the preset information which has been put on the machine. On the spindle number 2, the first layer with 400 speed RPM, the second layer with 500 RPM, and the third layer with 600 RPM. The first layer, 47, is there. I'm going to stop the machine, and you're going to see the Micron pattern over here. And you can see the first layer is 50. It is on 49 over here. I will start the machine. And as soon as this is 50, this stops and the second layer starts. And after a while, I will stop the machine and show you the pattern has changed again on the second layer as per the predefined recipe which has been given. As soon as this reaches 50, this will stop moving and the third pattern will start manufacturing. You can see the number of layer has reached 42. I will stop the machine at 48 and I will show you the layer or the pattern which has changed. You can see that the pattern has changed from the first layer being the second layer, and as soon as this now changes to 50, the third layer will start producing. This is 49, 50, and now it has changed to the third layer. The third layer, you can see the RPM is higher and the speed of the winding has also increased over here. After reaching 50, that has been preset on the third layer, the machine will automatically stop and the cartridge will be fully finished as per the predefined recipes. You can see the number of layers 49, now 50. As soon as it reaches 50, these all become 0 and the machine has stopped. And stop anytime you can press the red button, or else you will have a sensor. When the cartridge achieves the maximum diameter where the sensor has been set, the cartridge will automatically stop its production. As I said earlier, if you do not want the sensor operation, you can also set the number of layers which is on the panel, on the PLC, and then the machine will stop after achieving the number of layers which has been set. The machine's internals are within this cabinet, and you will see all the details of the electricals inside over here. Is for the core shaft, and this is for the camshaft. This is for the top spindle, the 2 servo motors, and the bottom 2 servo motors are for the core shaft and the camshaft. The special feature of this machine is the router, which is actually going to be connected always. If in case there is a situation that you need any assistance, then this router will be connected with our computer and we will be able to give you online assistance. These are the switches of the machine, the primary. This is the first that you start and you will get the light. This is the main switch. These 2 are for respective spindles. So once you switch this on, the bottom spindle will switch on, and once you switch this on, the top spindle will switch on. You will see the lights over here which has already started functioning. These are the stabilizers. The PLC of the machine, which is the heart of the machine, happens to be over here. All the programs of the designs and the detailings of the machine has been set on the PLC over here. This is the switch of the machine. I hope everyone is enjoying the video until now and you have been able to understand the special features of this machine. This was the description of the SmartWind 360-degree winding machine that I have just explained you. This was a 2020 spindle. Now I'm going to show you another configuration of the spindle, which is going to be of a 30 and 40 inch. The internals are going to be the same, the settings are going to be the same, the machine sizes are various that we can manufacture, which is from 10 inch to 70 inch. Any combination can be taken, let's say for a 10 and 10 inch or a 10 and 20 inch, a 20 inch machine, or a 40 inch machine, a 30 inch machine, or a 50-70-inch machine or a 70-70-inch machine. Configurations are multiple. You can choose and select, and I will now take you to another machine which is of a 30 and 40-inch configuration. This is our 40 and 30-inch configuration machine, the MMP SMARTWIND 360-degree. This machine is similar to the one that I've just shown you, which is of 2020 spindle. The only difference is this is of the configuration having a larger length of 40-inch on the top spindle and 30-inch on the bottom spindle. In the industrial filtration application, these sizes are very popular. Once again, the machine is capable of manufacturing a 3-layer filter cartridge, by which any industrial application is unknown to the factors of its suspended impurity particle size. You can choose the lowest layer to be of a lowest micron, which is 1 micron or a 5 micron, and the outer layer to be of the highest micron, which is 25 micron or 50 micron. This will ensure that the dirt particle which is there is distributed, and all the layers can actually be consumed to the maximum by giving you the highest dirt holding capacity for the filter cartridge. The electronics over here is exactly the same, and I will show you in a brief what exactly is this electronics as compared to a 20-inch, and you will find no difference over there. It has the home screen button. You press the home and you have all the configuration which has been preset. If you want to set the new settings, then you have to go to the recipes, and you will see on the recipe number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, which is a predefined for 30 and 40-inch. Recipe number 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 can be set the way you want. Recipe spindle number 1, the layers have already been set. You can see over here it is showing 40-inch because on the top the length of the spindle is 40-inch, and on the spindle number 2 you will see over here 30-inch because the bottom spindle is spindle number 2, which is of 30-inch. These blue marked are the ones which needs to be changed as you desire. This one first being the recipe, whichever micron rating that you need, which has been predefined, can be set over here. Over here, this is the input layer number, how many layers you want, again that you can change, and this is the speed of the separate different layers. Once you have set this, similarly you go to the home button and you will have a predefined section over here, and then you can start the machine. So to start the machine, you simply have to press the green button over here, similarly over here, and you will have the filters started to produce the micron settings, which is according to the recipe, will be manufactured with the number of layers that you have selected, and after the certain amount of layers which has been chosen achieves, the layer will change and you will have the filter produced according to the number of layer, or once you have reached the diameter which is desired over here. As I have shown you in the 2020 machine and 3040 machine, the machine is fully equipped with the same technology with PLC and logics exactly the way the previous machines have been shown. I'm going to show you the working of the machine, how simple it is. Once again, it looks small, but it is a very smart machine. Now for this machine, again we go to the system and look at the settings on the recipe for spindle number 1, which is on top. As you can see over here, we have the rhombus on main axis, rhombus per round, cartridge length, yarn distance, tube outer diameter, and micron pattern. All same settings as we have for the 2020 as well as the 3040. If you go to the systems and you look at the spindle, the spindle says it's a 10-inch filter cartridge. We have done the setting respectively for first layer to be ratio or the recipe number 2, for the second layer the recipe number 3, and the third layer the recipe number 4. Based on this, we have selected 30 layers for the first recipe, which is number 2. We have selected 30 layers for the recipe number 3, And we have selected 30 layers for recipe number 4. I will show you how to manufacture the filter cartridge and how the layers are going to change. I'm going to start this machine by pressing the green button, and after 30 layers I will show you that the Micron is changing. The filter cartridge has started producing. We have completed 9 layers as of now. I will stop at 30 and show you the pattern. We are on 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. This is the pattern you can see, which is on 30 layer completion. And now if I start, the second layer will start. Similarly, I'm going to start the second spindle also. You can see the pattern has changed on the first layer. Similarly, the third layer will also change accordingly, and it's the same for the bottom spindle. So the number of layers which has been set on the PLC is changing according to the recipes that you have given with different Micron ratings. Thank you for watching this video. All I can say that if you use this MMP 360-degree smart winding machine with a smart mind, the use and the possibilities are endless for you guys. Thank you for watching this video once again. If you want to know more about the machines, please do visit our website www.mmpfilter.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.